Hey everyone, this is Paul with Denver Decks. I'm going to take a little bit of time here to talk about different ceiling options on either a patio cover or a deck cover. So a solid roof structure that has shingles and it doesn't allow moisture through. So you've got, as far as the ceiling is concerned, you have a couple of options. Either you can do a flat ceiling or you can do a vaulted or a raked ceiling. Now, depending on the existing conditions on the home, oftentimes that'll kind of govern what direction needs to be done, whether it's a flat ceiling or a vaulted raked ceiling. We typically recommend a vaulted or a raked ceiling, and the reason being is, one, it looks expensive, but it's more affordable. And so the reason being is we have to frame the roof anyway with roof rafters, 2x8 or 2x10, Doug fir number 2. So we have to put in the rafters anyway. Now, if you're doing a raked or a vaulted ceiling, we're then attaching the soffit material directly to the bottom of those rafters. On the top of those rafters, you have the sheathing and you have the ice and water shield and then the shingles. Then you have that cavity and then you put in the actual ceiling material. It still leaves plenty of room for any electrical that you want to do, and we'll talk about electrical here in a moment. Now, that's the vaulted ceiling. If you're doing a flat ceiling, then in addition to the actual ceiling rafters, you need to put in additional framing to be able to support that flat ceiling. So that's 100% in addition, that material. You wouldn't normally have it. You're just putting it in to be able to support that flat ceiling. Now, the number one reason a homeowner would want to go with a flat ceiling is because the back of their house has cantilevers. And if you don't do a flat ceiling, you're able to see that the roof was added. And so by putting in the flat ceiling, it looks like it's always been there. These are things that we would discuss while on site. So you can either do a flat or a vaulted rake ceiling. Now, the second is the material options. So the most affordable is to match existing conditions on the home, which is typically 4x8 sheets of textured masonite. That comes pre-primed, and they're 4x8 sheets of textured masonite. That's what you would find on the eaves of the home, and that's what you would find if you have a covered front porch, is typically a textured masonite. That is the most affordable. Now, outside of that, the other most common is a cedar tongue and groove. Now, cedar has gone up considerably post-COVID, and it's a premium. I just did one this week, a bid, and the premium for the cedar came in at $4,000 more. Now, it's well worth the investment if it makes sense to the budget. It gives it that custom look. We're building the roof to match existing conditions. We want it to look like it came with the house, but that ceiling is a place where you can splurge a little bit or do that custom cedar tongue and groove to make it just look more cozy or more custom. And then, of course, you've got a variety of different lighting options, whether they're can lights or electrical outlets, which are becoming more popular, a place to be able to plug in your Christmas lights, or tea lights or things like that. And then, of course, you have the option for a ceiling fan. Now, ceiling fans are taste specific. So we are going to always install a ceiling fan that you as the homeowner would provide. You do not want us picking out your ceiling fan. And of course, we're installing outlet or switches on the interior of the home to function that. Now, anytime we're doing more than one electrical fixture, we need to put in a arc fault breaker at the panel. So that's always something that you want to keep in mind. And then if you're looking at infrared heaters, as I mentioned in a previous video, those can be very expensive. Not the heaters, although those are expensive, but what's required at the electrical panel to be able to support that sort of a draw. So you've got to run, typically you've got to put in another sub panel to be able to support that additional 220 draw. All details that can be discussed on site, but you'd want to keep in mind when considering the different ceiling options. And outside of that, we welcome any questions at deckman1963@gmail.com or call us at 303-730-9642. And again, I am Paul Kane with Denver Decks. Thank you.